Who's that girl? It's Jess. So, I'm Brian Downs, this is Pro Sex Studio, and in this episode we're going to be looking at the sexual attitudes presented by the sitcom New Girl, which was first released into the wild in 2011. I thought I would talk about season 1, but then I realized that all I needed to talk about was episode 1, because everything you need is right there. If you've been watching the channel, and I mean, who hasn't? Seriously. You know that what I do here is examine the sexual attitudes presented by popular films, popular media, television shows, and find out that a lot of the time, they're negative. And when I started watching New Girl, I found out I was right again. New Girl is negative all the way down to Zooey Deschanel's adorable little toes. The basic premise is that the new girl is Jess, played by Zooey Deschanel. She is in her late 20s or early 30s, and she winds up having to move on short notice in with 3 men she's never met. She found an advertisement. They were looking for a new roommate in their loft. And then they quickly become a lovable band of misfits together. The title of the show should have been Negative Meme Number 12, Your Friends Are Your Family and Family Doesn't Sex. I have 12 memes. There's a video about that, by the way. You can find it in my list. That I have identified as turning up in popular media all the time, over and over and over again, to condition you to feel terrible about your sexuality. You ever wonder why you feel terrible about your sexuality? Because you're taught to by movies. If you're interested in sex and what's going on in movies, please like, subscribe, share this around. All of that is a big help to the project. So, episode 1 is called Pilot, and it starts with Jess talking to the camera, and she says, these are the first words spoken. You know, in horror movies, when the girl's like, oh my god, there's something in the basement. Let me just run down there in my underwear and see what's going on in the dark. Well, my story's kind of like that. So you see, 2 weeks ago, Jess wanted to assert her sexuality with her boyfriend Spencer, her live-in partner with whom she has been involved for many years. She had gone on a trip out of town, but she's come home a little early to surprise Spencer. She's going to walk into the house wearing nothing but an overcoat and drop it on the floor to enact one of Spencer's fantasies. She's even told her friend Cece, who is a model and is one of the major characters in the show, that this is her plan, and Cece said, I'm so proud of you. So, what does Jess want to do? This is like the first 3 minutes of episode 1. What Jess wants to do is assert her sexuality with her live-in partner of many years and have some passionate sex. Does that happen? No, it doesn't. What happens is that when she goes in there and drops the overcoat, it's a lot more awkward than sexy, and she's kind of making an awkward presentation out of herself. And no sex happens. She doesn't have sex with Spencer. Not because she's so awkward, but because, of course, coming home early and surprising Spencer is how she discovers that Spencer is unfaithful to her. Spencer has a side chick, and that woman is there. So Jess is standing there with no clothes on in front of this stranger, being humiliated. Her attempt to have some excitement in her sex life, again, with her own live-in partner, very much husband and wife type situation. They're not legally married, but they've been together for years. They live in the same house. Her attempt to enjoy her sex life with her own partner results in humiliation, heartbreak, and a shattering, life-altering betrayal. This is negative meme number 1, the wanting disaster. Wanting sex, having sex, talking about sex, even, liking sex often leads directly to a bad result. She wanted to have an exciting sexual encounter with her boyfriend. That's not what she got. She got the wanting disaster. In an experience which she opens the episode and the entire series by comparing explicitly to a bloody horror movie murder. That's negative meme number 2, danger is sex. Sex is presented as dangerous, and danger is presented as sexy, so that you'll feel anxious about your own sexuality. Does Jess ever talk about her sex life with Spencer in any other way? Does it ever come up again? Does she ever say, I don't know why he was unfaithful. I always thought our sex life was very rewarding. Or no, she never makes any remark about her sex life with Spencer. We never see her embrace Spencer, or kiss Spencer, or get nut, or go to bed with Spencer. Not in a flashback, not anything. At least not in season 1. Why? Because can't have that. sex has got to be shattering. Her sex life with Spencer is the worst thing that ever happened to her. Now, who's she telling the story to? The camera? No, not to the camera. It's to Nick, Schmidt, and Coach, the three men who are interviewing her as a potential fourth roommate. Anyway, here's the point. She very quickly moves in. And it's about 5 minutes later in screen time, or 2 weeks in the show universe, that they are all using the bathroom together. Nick and Schmidt are having a conversation at the sink while Jess is taking a shower. 3 feet over there. So they very quickly established severe levels of platonic intimacy. They're all in the bathroom at the same time. Like a married couple, or most of the plot of the pilot is Jess being distraught about how her relationship with Spencer ended, and the boys encourage her to go and have a casual sexual encounter with some other guy in order to lift her spirits and get her, back on the horse, as it were. Her efforts to find a guy to have sex with are comedically awkward because it would be, we all know that it would be very difficult for Zooey Deschanel to find someone to hook up with. But that night she finds a guy named Peter with whom to make a date with on the next night. Now we also get a scene here where the boys get to meet her best friend, Cece. And Cece is one of the most important characters in this entire show. Cece is gorgeous, outstandingly gorgeous. She's also professionally gorgeous. She's a model. And when she comes to the apartment, all the boys are attracted to her. They're all just sitting on the couch staring at her in befuddlement, and she's looking at them like they're idiots. This is negative meme number 3. Your problem is sex. And a protagonist, an interest in sex, or a sex life is presented as a character flaw they have to overcome. They are attracted to Cece, and that makes them stupid. Why does it make them stupid? Let's take a look at Cece. Cece is remarkably gorgeous, and she's professionally gorgeous, so she has, a good genetic start to being beautiful, and then takes, care of herself with diet and exercise and $300 haircuts and all of this because she's a professional model. She's also poised, self-confident, articulate, and apparently doing pretty well in her career as a model. She's not a famous multimillionaire, but she seems to pay her bills. Why wouldn't you be attracted to Cece? Why is it stupid to be attracted to Cece? Cece is remarkably attractive, and yet it's presented like the boys are idiots. So the boys are idiots, which gives Cece a chance to condescend to them. By expressing their attraction to her, or by making it obvious, that makes them people who ought to be condescended to. Little subplot I like to follow on this channel. I call it bad behavior in women. Very often, shows present behavior in women that would be rejected by the audience if a man did it. The audience would say, no, a man can't do that. That's terrible behavior. But women do it all the time, and it proves that they're smart or fierce or full of nerve. Cece says to the boys, if they let anything happen to Jess, she will crazy murder them. Can we imagine a scene where Schmidt tells Cece, if you let X happen, I will kill you, and I'm not kidding, I mean kill you? Would that be funny? No. It would be a scene out of Law and Order, not a sitcom. But Cece can do it, and she's funny. Much later in the season, by the way, in the episode Valentine's Day, Schmidt and Cece finally go to bed together. They've had this will they, won't they thing going on. And she tells him, if somebody catches us, I'm going to say that you drugged me, and it's my word against yours, okay? Okay. Schmidt readily agrees to this. Yeah, sure, he says, sure. Again, let's reverse the sexes. Let's imagine a scene where Schmidt says to Cece, hey, I'm willing to have sex with you right now, but if you ever tell anyone, even your closest friends, even our friends, that we had sex together, I will tell vicious lies about you that will destroy your reputation and your career if they don't actually put you in prison. Would that be funny? Would that be charming? Or would that be sociopathic? It's cute when the woman does it. That whole plot line, by the way, which now we're talking about later in the season, and we're going to circle back to episode 1, so bear with me. While you're bearing with me, hit like and subscribe, will you? Oh, and the comments section is there if you disagree with me. That's what the internet is for. The plotline of Schmidt and Cece is presented as kind of wacky or silly because why would Cece want to be in a relationship with Schmidt? It's crazy. It's presented as nuts that anyone would want to be in a relationship with Schmidt, but let's do for Schmidt what we just did for Cece. Let's take a look at him. Schmidt is about 5'10". He's college educated. He's got six-pack abs, straight white teeth. He's a little pale for LA. Thick head of raven black hair. He dresses well. He's doing well in his white-collar career. He's obviously the richest person living in the loft anyway. Doesn't seem to have any trouble with money, pays his bills on time, keeps the house in meticulous order, does all the housework, in fact, and keeps it in meticulous order. Oh, by the way, he can cook. He's quite a cook. That's made clear in the show. In short, Schmidt is objectively a very attractive man, and it's quite reasonable to expect that women will find him attractive. But the show presents it as ludicrous or ridiculous that women should find Schmidt attractive. The women he's had casual sexual encounters with are presented as idiots or head cases. When Cece goes to bed with him, it's presented as insane. Oh, how could this happen? Why wouldn't it happen? He's very attractive. The only thing wrong with Schmidt is that he says stupid things. He says things like, ladies love Schmidt. And when Cece first comes into the apartment, he takes his shirt off on a transparent pretense for showing off his muscles to her. The writers put this idiotic dialogue into Schmidt's mouth because if they don't, then Schmidt is just really attractive. Why wouldn't Cece be attracted to him? No particular reason not to. But we have to set this up like your problem is sex. Cece's desire to have a sexual relationship with Schmidt is her failure, her flaw, it's craziness. Schmidt's desire to have sex with anyone, including Cece, is his character flaw. Or how about they're two good-looking people with compatible sexual orientations who clearly socialize a lot, get along together, help each other out. Why wouldn't they be a couple? There's no reason they shouldn't be. But there it is. Sex has to be presented as dumb and borderline insane/criminal. Anyway, you might remember that Jess was going to go out and have casual sex to lift her spirits about her breakup. But Peter stands her up. She was texting him, you see. She wrote him too many texts in as a prelude to their dinner together. Because the show wants us to believe that someone would get so annoyed by being texted by Zooey Deschanel that they wouldn't go to bed with her. That's the funniest thing in the whole episode. Anyway, the boys learn that Peter is standing her up. They happen to bump into Peter. And he's like, no, I'm not. She texted me. I'm not going to dinner. And so what the boys do is give up on an opportunity to go to a party that's full of sexy young women in sexy little costumes. And they all run off to the restaurant where Jess is sitting alone, so that she will not be alone and humiliated. They will be there to support her. And in fact, they make such a big production out of going in there to provide their emotional support that the restaurant staff asked the noisy group to leave. One of them could have gone in there, simply sat down and said, I'll have the chicken, and had dinner with Jess so that she doesn't look like an idiot sitting alone at a table. No, it's got to be the whole bunch. What happens here? This is another negative meme, which is serious people don't sex. People with responsibilities don't have sex. The boys give up on a potential opportunity for sex by going to this party in order to go help Jess, who, by the way, isn't having sex. Wanted to have sex, was encouraged to have sex. What did she get instead? Humiliated. That's the wanting disaster again. Notice, by the way, in this show, nobody's having sex. Nobody's sex life is successful. Nick is still very much heartbroken by a recent breakup, so is Jess. The other two guys apparently have casual, fleeting sexual encounters. Cece, in the early part of the season, is dating this guy or that guy. They barely get names. Doesn't matter. She dumps them. Nobody is enjoying their sex life. Everyone is being painfully humiliated, though. And then the end of the episode, which sums up really a hell of a lot of the series. The boys, Nick, Coach, Schmidt, and Jess go back to the loft where they all live, and instead of going to the party, they watch a movie or something. And Schmidt says, hey, Jess, I know you've had a tough time tonight, but hey, I would do you. And is instantly upbraided by the entire group. There's a general outcry. Put some money in your douchebag jar. Schmidt, how dare you say that? When Jess wanted, first of all, the boys recommended to Jess that she have sex with somebody. When that was going to be Peter, terrific, thumbs up, congratulations. That Peter wanted to have sex with Jess, however briefly, is nothing to object to. That doesn't happen. And then when Schmidt, one of her intentional family, says to her, yeah, you're attractive, I'd have sex with you. Not, let's have sex, not, this is something that's happening right now, not, why don't you have sex with me, but I would, because you are attractive. That's totally unacceptable. Your friends are your family, and family doesn't sex. This is negative meme number 12, and it's presented in these kind of television shows a lot. The core of this meme is that you have an intentional family, and you should not have sex with any of these people. And to be sexually attracted to your closest friends, the people you're really sharing your life with, is wrong and dumb and stupid and objectionable. And the group will yell at you if you suggest any such thing. This happens all the time. Your friends are your family, and family don't sex. Look at Friends, look at Sex and the City, look at Community, look at Three's Company, look at Take Your Pick. Right? You cannot have sex with these people. Your most important relationships, the people who are closest to you, who understand you the best, are people you must not have sex with or even suggest the possibility of having sex with. That's crazy. Your sexual relationships ought to be fleeting, inconsequential, and disappointing, and they should be with people you don't know very well. This is a common message. It was okay that Jess wanted to have sex. The boys encouraged her to do it as long as she had sex with somebody else, someone they don't know, out of sight, out of mind. It's okay that Peter wanted to have sex with Jess. That's fine. The idea that Schmidt would say to Jess, you're sexually attractive, that's what he's saying, is outrageous. Even though they share a home together. And by episode 2, she will be describing her feelings for all of these guys as love. And even though she has a compatible sexual orientation with each of these men, everyone here is a heterosexual, and even though they know each other very well and confide in one another and go to one another for help and comfort and support in times of trouble, there can't be any sex. Because you're supposed to feel terrible about your sexuality. Again. So thanks for watching this episode. I do these every week. Check back for more. Also take a look at the videos I've already done. There's one on Altered Carbon Season 2. There's a whole playlist on the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Who knows what's coming up next, so keep an eye on this space. The best way to do that is to subscribe. Thanks for your time.